Hello, goblets of fire, and welcome to Harry Potter and the Boys, a fan fiction Harry Potter podcast by me, Radio Mike. Oh my God, look where we are, Tom and Ollie.
Yes. Hello,
in
Mike.
the Fox FM studios. This is a privilege.
It's special.
Yeah, it's good.
It is
really
special.
good.
And to be talking about Harry Potter, Mike,
You've never looked less interested in anything in your life, Tom.
I'm just annoyed because Ollie and I have both worn white T-shirts to this podcast recording, and you also have a white T-shirt on, Mike, so that's going really well.
But you love matching, Tom, so you'd be loving this.
I do love matching, yeah, but I'm annoyed I didn't wear my cloak for this. Because
Invisibility or standard?
Would have preferred to wear an invisibility cloak, to be honest.
Not worthy. Not worthy. James didn't give it to you.
No, he definitely didn't. We are big Harry Potter fans,
You
though.
are clearly showing you're big Harry Potter fans. So
Yes.
obviously, Tom and Ollie, Fox FM, night show.
Yes.
Across the Hit Network.
Across
thank
the
you.
Hit Network,
National
sorry.
show.
Yes, and for international listeners, on the Listener app, I assume.
On the Listener app, it's the best place to get your news, your music, and your podcasts.
Yep.
And your live
And your
radio.
Tom and Ollie.
And your Tom and Ollie.
You know, often we say Tom and Ollie, occasionally we say Lee Jordan, you know, because Lee Jordan was obviously a great broadcaster in HP novels.
Was he a broadcaster though, or like?
Yeah, he was a commentator.
Was
on
that
Quidditch.
commentating going to air anywhere?
No, but didn't he by book 7? Wasn't he doing an underground radio show to Potter news?
And that is why Tom and Ollie are on this podcast today.
Yeah.
Because I forgot that.
Yeah, you did.
I forgot that.
What was it
providing
called?
underground
Wasn't
news.
Fred it was Lightning Radio.
It was like
wasn't it?
Potter
Watch.
Potter Watch.
Was it Potter Watch?
I think it was.
Someone's going to correct us.
I love that.
But I guess since we're already on it, do you guys want to talk individually or collectively, depending on you know whether you watch the movies together? What's your experience with
Movies?
HP?
Oh, come on, please. I first discovered it when my grandma bought me books 1 through 4.
Wow.
I was 10 years old, so it would have been the year 2000. Bought books 1 through 4, ended up reading them alongside my mother, and we both became fans and we'll line up for the books for the rest of the time.
Yeah.
When did you first discover it, Ollie?
Yeah, well, probably about the same time, about 10 years old.
Don't steal his story.
But I read book 3 first.
Okay,
really?
so
Because-
you were just like whatever.
Nah, give me
1
that.
and 2.
It was primary school, and
That Sirius Black.
yeah, well, it was whatever I was in the library at school. So I read that, and then but I remember, you know, buying book 4 when it came out, which must have been, you know, 2002 or something.
So can I also ask you, because what made it good for me, Ollie, was that I was the same age as Harry reading it. So we grew up with Harry at the same age as Harry.
Yeah, well, that's probably a bonus. I don't think you need that to really enjoy it. For example, Mike, my partner Sarah, she's such a fan.
She's a huge fan.
That she
should
now
get her on this.
she now
you
can't.
should.
Yeah, you could actually get her on.
She's a good talker.
She can't get to sleep without Harry Potter audiobook being read to her by Stephen Fry. And so what she does is, you know, this is the last few years is this developed. But she obviously read the books like everyone else a couple of times at least. But in the last few years has gone through 1 to 7 audiobook and then just immediately starts again.
Wow, she's not trying the Jim Dale audiobooks, which I believe was the
No.
American.
Oh, is there a different reader?
Yeah.
What a shame.
No, she loves Stephen Fry and he does a great job with the voices and stuff.
Yeah,
Easily
he
the
does.
best.
Yeah, they were really good.
So I hear it annoyingly lying in bed. I'll have dreams of Harry Potter because it's in the background, and I'm like, Sarah, put some headphones on. I'm sick of hearing book. We just finished book 7. Now we're back at book 1 again.
How many times have you read the books, Ollie? I think I've done the series.
I think about 4 probably.
Yeah, I think about 4 for
about
me.
4 all up.
Yeah.
Hardcore fans, I love it.
How many
And-
times have you read it?
Oh, probably 5 or
Yeah.
6.
Oh, one more than us. Well done.
Okay. Actually, and let me think. 7. I've read it 7
I
times.
think I was 8. I'm not sure. And I assume you've seen the movies, but there was a roll of the eyes when movies were mentioned, Tom.
Well, because I hate it. I hate it when people go, yeah, I'm a huge fan of Harry Potter, the films. It's like, well,
Yeah.
no.
Like your
You know.
boyfriend watching the movies recently.
Yeah, my boyfriend Seth, he's only seen the films.
Gotcha.
He's up to book 2, and he's been on book 2 for the past year and a half.
Reading.
Yeah, I don't think he really reads it that
Oh,
much.
no.
So poor Seth.
Yeah. Oh man, they're so good. They're so good.
Okay, favourite film and favourite book is the next question we go to.
Couldn't really talk about the films. Like I haven't.
I could.
I've just probably seen them once. But the favorite book is a great question.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
It's the same for both book and film. Number 3.
You're a prisoner boy.
A Prisoner of Azkaban. Love it. I'm a prisoner boy.
You're a prisoner boy
you're,
too.
You're an Azzy boy.
I
Azkaban boy.
really think that's the catalyst.
Yeah,
right?
great.
Book 3 is just the beginning of the end. Do you know what I mean?
It's
Like
where
book
you-
1 and 2, sure.
Yeah.
It's playtime. Book 3, we're getting serious, and we
lunchtime.
get serious. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I love that.
I think I find it hard to pick a favorite.
Yeah.
Because they're all just because they're all different. I mean, I think we all agree that book 5 is the worst. I mean, that's been categorically
It's
panned.
very long.
Too fat. You know, she could have cut a lot out of book 5. It's the longest, and for what reason? What, to see Harry being moody for the whole year?
He's very moody.
Hating everyone? And yet book 7 is covering off such immense, important detail, and yes, indeed, it's 200 pages less than book 5.
Yeah.
So, you know, you could cut some out of book 5. I just think, you know, 6 and 7 deliver on so much weaved story from early on that, you know, nothing is wasted. No time is wasted.
I think the final chapters of 7 take like a couple of reads to understand.
Big time.
Was that for you as well, Mike?
Are you talking about the thing where you find out about Snape and his whole
the
being
Snape,
just the
but the number of the Horcruxes and how that's being ticked off,
and of course Goyle dying in the room of requirement.
It's very
one of the bigger and sadder deaths.
That was very sad.
Wasn't there something that when Sarah reread it recently, she only just understood one element of the story in book 7? It was something to do with Dumbledore's, it was Lily's love or something?
Something about Mike, I don't know if she was saying that Harry sacrificing himself when he goes to Voldemort and says, I'll take me, you know, I surrender myself.
Yes. Yeah.
Harry then puts on a spell, the same spell that his mother had put on him, protecting everyone else.
Is that said by J.K.
It's
Rowling?
not explicit, but Sarah seemed to think it was implied, and she read it to me, and I was like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Or maybe the same spell is put on people he loves, which is everyone. Yeah, so I think that was the theory, that it's like, you know, it's super. Well, how does that work? But you know, there's a lot of
love that protects him.
There's a lot of layers.
Voldemort's Avada Kedavra.
Have you guys ever thought? I think I mentioned it in a different app, but you know how like the whole thing is Harry's mum sacrificed herself, and her love is what protected Harry.
Yeah.
And no one's ever seen this magic before. No one in the history of magic has ever laid their life down. Like, it must have happened.
But I suppose it was the intricate details of her love and her sacrifice at that time, for then to have the killing curse to happen, which is a rarity.
Yeah.
And
a
the
lot of stars had to align.
Yeah, the splitting. But I have thought that. It's like, how is he the only person who's ever been sacrificed for? Or
maybe that's why it's a lightning bolt, Scott, because it was like he was struck by lightning, which is a really rare occurrence.
Okay.
So that's my
Mr. Fanfiction is coming out here.
And finally, house. I usually predict. I'm thinking both very Gryffindor here.
Well, we've had a discussion.
I'm definitely in Gryffindor, and I don't understand why anyone would choose not to be in Gryffindor, to be honest.
I'm a Ravenclaw.
Okay, interesting.
A proud Ravenclaw?
Exceptionally proud.
Exceptionally proud. How is the tower? Are you enjoying it up there?
It's great. Don't the Ravenclaws have to like solve riddles to get into their common room where the Gryffindors just have a fun? Yeah.
I went to Spotlight recently, and there was like all the costumes were there lined up. Gryffindor, Slytherin, Hufflepuff was empty of stock. And I was like, who the hell's buying a Hufflepuff outfit?
So many people are in Hufflepuff, and it's embarrassing.
But it is embarrassing.
It's embarrassing.
Because all the heroes...
though, which is the best part. It's close to the kitchens.
But all the heroes are in Gryffindor, aren't they? There's not really any heroes in Hufflepuff.
Justin Finch Fletchley. He comes up a bit.
Who's that?
Someone once said Justin Finch Fletchley to me, and I was like, I guess.
I don't recall him.
What house was Cedric in?
Cedric was in Hufflepuff.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you're a Gryffindor then, Tom?
I think I definitely.
You'd say you're brave, would you?
You guys have a very Fred and George kind of feel, though.
Fred and George.
Come on. It's just because we're wearing white t-shirts, mate.
Just clowns who are going to, flunk out of school early and start a joke shop. I mean,
I could have been in Hufflepuff, close to the kitchens.
Yeah. You're not a Hufflepuff, Tom. You're too cool.
If you're in Ravenclaw, I thought when everyone reads the book, everyone imagines that they're Harry Potter, don't they?
Yeah.
I was picturing myself as Justin Finch Fletchley.
Bit of a short-lived moment for you then. I mean, not a lot of time.
No, not much screen time.
Rereading the book, so as an older person, Harry is such a dick.
Yeah.
Have we all come to agree about
I've heard
this?
that.
I really don't like him when I was reading this book as an adult. I was much preferred of like Hermione.
Why is he a dick though? I disagree.
And Ron was like moody, but he becomes good. But Harry is a dick.
Why is he a dick though?
He's traumatized. I think it's just trauma.
I think it's the fame and the trauma.
Yeah, like if you were at school knowing,
But he's a bit of an anti-hero.
He carried
until
Snape's
7,
an
I think.
anti-hero, I reckon.
Yeah, well, of course Snape is.
I don't think he's. I think he's a.
I just think he's a bit of a dick. You reread it, I reckon you'll come to the same conclusion.
He's aware.
He's a bit of a dick.
He's aware that a lot of stuff rests on him, and
Number
he
5
carries that burden.
Number 5, he's a catty. He's very catty.
Yeah, but he's 15, so that's perfect,
I know,
isn't
I
it?
know,
Like
I
he's
know.
a
It makes
teenager.
sense,
Yeah.
I know.
But
He's like, oh, girl, I want a girlfriend. Miss, where's
Why
Cho
won't
Chang?
Cho like
yeah,
me?
yeah.
Oh, God.
We should dive into the fanfic.
Yeah,
Now,
let's do the fan fiction.
I was saying to you guys before we started rolling, we're actually pretty far into the fanfic now, and I just have a feeling this chapter, because everyone reads a chapter.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just think you guys are going to have no idea what's
That's
going
okay.
on, so I'm going to try and fill you in very quickly.
So what's this book called?
Harry Potter and the Boys.
Harry Potter and
Harry
the
Potter and the
Boys.
Boys. We're up to
Wow.
chapter 16.
How old were you when you wrote this?
I was in year 7 at school.
Oh wow.
So it's
Year 7.
12 or 13 years old.
How many pages is it?
It's nearly 200 pages. I think.
Oh my god.
Although I'm looking here of size 18 font.
Yeah, it's a very large font size.
Essay trick.
Bringing the
and
margins a bit.
basically where we're at is the boys, two of the boys, Michael and Rob. Michael's named after this guy.
Who's Rob named after?
I don't know, some other guy.
Okay.
And they have interrupted a staff dance party in the Great Hall, which was for staff only. Students were not allowed to go. And one professor was murdered by a mysterious cloaked figure. There is a mean potions teacher called Mr. Charger, and he seems to be involved with what we know as the dark farts, which is seems to be able to shoot evil spells out of his asshole.
God. Captain Underpants.
It was
crossover.
I was reading a lot of Captain Underpants during this, and Mr. Charger seems to be the villain of the story. There's some weird stuff going on. It seems like the boys have been apprehended by Hermione Granger, who is now a professor at the school, and this is where we pick up in chapter 16. I wonder if we read if you guys do a page each or something, or however you want to do it.
Sure.
So you've taken some characters.
Yeah, there are a lot of Gryffindors from the original are now. Harry is the headmaster of Hogwarts.
Right.
Ron is a professor. A lot of legacy characters, but lots of new characters as well.
A lot of legacy characters.
We're 50 years out from Deathly Hallows, so
Yeah. 50
lots
years,
changed.
wow.
Yeah. And I assume anything from the Cursed Child is non-canon in this, simply because it didn't exist when I wrote this book. So Ollie's going to take us off. Usually, like, as much as you want to interject and critique the author, feel free to do so.
Okay, we'll do.
We usually start by reading the title of the chapter.
Yep.
Olly Morris, take it away.
Chapter 16, Hermione's Memories. The next morning, the boys woke up early. Now, can I just ask, how, in Harry Potter, there's all this information that's threaded about early on. And so everything is there for a reason. Mm-hmm. Would you say it's the same in your book? Everything's there for a reason?
So a lot of people have brought this up that have been guests. Like, a lot of stuff just seems to be mentioned that is never mentioned again and is just so random. So I assume it all comes to a head at the end.
Oh, yeah. We'll have to assume. Yeah.
You assume so.
You assume that you're an excellent author in Year 7.
But we have established it's certainly not the most groundbreaking writing.
Okay. All right.
It started off good.
The next morning, the boys woke up early. They went down into the common room to meet Professor Granger, the Transfiguration teacher.
Pretty good so far.
Rob Robson and Michael Carmichael, follow me to my office now, she said. Rob and Michael followed, but said nothing. That's a very J.K. Rowling sentence.
Yeah, I like
so?
that.
Yeah,
Wow,
but
thank
said
you.
nothing. That's what she would say. Don't talk, listen.
Now that's already funny, if I do say so myself, because specifically says that they said nothing, and then Hermione's like, don't talk, listen. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, that is deliberate, I'm sure. Don't talk, listen. I seem to recall seeing you at the no students party for teachers only last night. A lot of extra words there, but yeah.
It was the no students party for
By the
teachers
way,
only.
Ollie has done a degree in teaching and
English
language, so he's got
You can really unpack
That's a
this.
tautology what you've done there. No students party for teachers only. Yeah, last night. Mumbled Michael. Fine then, expel us, said Rob. Have very different personas here. Michael, you're a bit of a dweeb, but Rob's full of sass.
Can I say that a lot of chapters in this book, there are students just dropping dead, being murdered, ruthlessly being killed by forces beyond their control. It totally makes sense to me that one of the boys in this book is just happy to be expelled at that stage.
Rob Robson, of course. I seem to recall that on your first day, I clearly read out that students seen there will not be expelled.
Wow.
Okay, so she's saying that, I'm angry that you've gone there, but I never said, in fact, I did say you wouldn't be expelled for doing it.
Almost like she was encouraging the students to do it.
Yes, very interesting.
I'm sure that actually is interesting because I reckon if we do go back to that chapter where she said it, she would say that they wouldn't be expelled.
Why would a teacher inform someone that they won't be expelled for breaking a rule? Like, why would you ever do that?
I reckon it was intentional.
It's intentional. All right.
Should we pass on to Tom? Well, you guys pass on whenever you feel ready to.
I'm enjoying.
I'll continue this. I'll continue this scene.
Yeah, cool. Lots of scenes in this.
Oh, said Rob. Thanks, said Michael.
Not expelled, the classic reaction.
Good. Oh, thanks.
It's hard to read, Michael. I will say it's hard to read because you expect some kind of natural, rhythm, and then you get a thanks.
Yeah, you expect thank God, we were so worried we were going to be expelled. That's it.
Oh, thanks. I seem to recall that when you walked in the door, I told you to listen, not to talk. Capital letters and listen.
Come on, mate.
She's got him there,
yeah.
baiting them into talking and then telling them. Yeah,
I like this from Rob. Oh, why do you keep saying, I seem to recall? Asked Rob. That's good. Rob's the sassy one, isn't he?
And she has said, I seem to recall every time.
You've stitched her up with a social crutch, a verbal crutch, and then Rob's called her out on it.
I seem to recall.
That's good.
You never said, Michael was cut off. I seem to recall that I need to show you something that is very important. You're taking the piss now, mate. With I seem to recall.
I seem to recall. You got to do voices for the characters.
But you don't know who you're reading until you've got there. So, but
I think it seemed to recall is always.
I should have known.
I seem to recall that I need to show you something.
I feel like you're writing sketch comedy here more than anything. It's an Auntie Donna sketch. I seem to recall that I need to show you something that is very important. She said, "Oh God, jump into my pensive."
Wow.
Oh,
all right, Tom, you can do the.
You do the next.
So she's got a pensive straight from book 6.
The boys looked in the corner of the room and saw the pensive.
Wow.
I'm not going to bother describing it because there are descriptions in Harry Potter 4, 5, 6, 7.
So, a classic tactic that J.K. Rowling never used in her book. Hey guys, so Harry got into the pensive. I talked about it in the last book. So
you should put a footnote in there.
Yeah.
Refer to the original books.
Now, in this memory, I want you to follow the man with long grey hair and find as many clues as possible, she said. Clues for what? Asked Michael. Michael's obviously come from Australia. He's an Australian Michael. Clues for what? Asked Michael. But she didn't reply.
Does it actually say she didn't reply?
It says she didn't reply.
Classic channeling you're in a Dumbledore here. Set a bunch of kids on a mission with no guidance.
They jumped into the pensive and fell into what looked like the Great Hall. Hermione was standing up the front of the Great Hall looking at everyone. Then they looked to the right of Hermione and saw the grey-haired man.
No longer Hermione, now Miss Granger.
Yeah.
But is it a young Hermione? How far back have we gone?
Well,
we don't know,
I guess
do we?
We don't know, but as I guess we should explain the pensive for listeners who aren't familiar. Now, you can go to books 4, 5, 6, and 7.
And rifle through the pages.
But it is, you jump into it and you can relive people's memories.
Yeah. So a silver slither withdrawn from the head.
Key plot point in, as we said, books 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Then they looked to the right of Hermione and saw the grey-haired man that they had seen talking with Mr. Charger on page 50.
You can't refer back to the pages, Michael. What is this?
Except he now had blonde hair and looked much, much younger. Okay.
So are we getting Malfoy vibes from that? Like blonde hair?
Okay.
You'd assume.
I mean, I don't expect you guys to have any informed idea of what the fuck is going on.
Do you remember, have you read this recently enough that you know what's going on?
No, I only read this just before we started recording, just to check in.
Just to make sure it was worth it? And you thought it was worth it?
I'm sorry, guys.
You've cleared it. No, you've cleared it.
The younger version of the grey-haired man looked around suspiciously, occasionally looking at his watch.
Oh,
when he quickly
do wizards have
it's a Rolex or what is it?
When he quickly began to walk out of the room. That doesn't make sense.
Misuse of tense.
There's an editor. Need an editor.
The boys followed. He walked past all the students and none of them seemed to care. Was he a teacher? What was he doing at Hogwarts?
Now, this guy has appeared previously in the book as the grey-haired man, talking to Mr. Charger, the dark farts guy who shoots green light out of his asshole.
Okay. So Charger's a teacher?
Charger's the potions teacher. And this guy is a mysterious man. I actually believe last time we saw him, he was talking to Professor Granger, holding something and saying, "I'm going to sue the school." So I don't know.
Okay.
And you expect there's some kind of magical attorney or lawyer.
Then they saw that he had a Slytherin sign on his robes. He was a
classic
student.
potions. No, yeah.
He was a student.
He was a student.
When he exited the room, he went down to the dungeons. This must be where the Slytherin common room is, Michael said.
And we
Troll!
That's not a bad line for you as a writer to have that line, because that's the characters learning stuff that you know and we all know.
Yeah, we
but
know
you're
that.
showing where they're at. I am impressed by that.
Yeah, they are first years after all.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's good. Yeah.
Troll! The younger version of the grey-haired man said to a wall, but the wall began to shift aside.
Oh,
So is troll like the password?
yeah.
Troll
sounds
must have
like
been
a
the password.
Interesting.
He walked into
Not
this.
like Ravenclaws who just solve riddles.
no. Or Hufflepuff who just eats to get into their common room.
Do they actually?
No, I don't know.
No, they tickle the fruit. They tickle the pear.
That's right.
Do they?
Tickle the pear.
Very sexual, isn't it?
Yeah,
tickle the
Depends
pears.
how you want to look at
There's a
it.
portrait of a fruit bowl, and you tickle the pear to get into the room.
Whereas, so we've got a password in Gryffindor. They just tickle fruit all the time. That's not hard to get in, is it?
Maybe it's different fruit.
Change the fruit. Well, you just tickle them all, wouldn't you?
If you knew the secret, tickle everything.
Yeah, but it takes a while though. It takes a half an hour.
It definitely wasn't the Slytherin common room. It was simply one big rectangular room with a few couches that had obviously been stolen. And in the middle of the room, a giant something.
Oh, a very apt description.
Sounds like a room of requirement almost, doesn't
Could
it?
be the room of requirement, but was that in the dungeons? Unless it's
No.
moved.
No, the room
no.
of requirement is up on
level 5 or 7 or something.
Yeah, something
Yeah,
like
so
that.
it could be the room of
But it hasn't moved.
the room of new requirement, possibly.
It didn't look like anything the boys had ever seen. It was about 10 meters high, and at the top of it, a star. There were 2 holes in the wall of this room, one on the left, one on the right, and directly opposite them, a door. The younger version of the grey-haired man looked at his watch again and started mumbling things like, "Where is he?" And "He said 8 o'clock."
Younger version of the grey-haired man. Are we assuming that's Dumbledore, the grey-haired man?
No, we don't know. He's been talking to
we
Mr.
don't. Yeah, he was the one that was
Mr.
going to sue the
Teacher.
school. That's the younger.
We don't know.
But
who
now
he
he's
is.
got blonde hair.
Now he's got blonde hair. Well, not now. In the past,
past,
which is now in
Which
the
is now in
context
the
of
context
what
of
we're reading.
Pensieve, yes.
But also, like, you guys are. You're lucky. Like, this is some of the most descriptive writing
That's
this
really
book has
good.
ever had. Like, this is a surprisingly descriptive.
Good chapter. You're proud of this
Well, I
one?
can
Yeah.
see here that you wrote it at 2:24 p.m. So, yeah, you were writing it at
I think-
2:24 p.m., which
Oh,
is pretty
wow.
good.
I didn't realize there's a timestamp
Yeah,
of
there's a
when this
timestamp.
page was written.
So it's in the afternoon. It's not late at night.
Classic writing time.
It's good.
Creak! The door had opened.
Ooh.
A tall, idiotic-looking 16 or 17-year-old boy walked out of it.
Now, every time Mr. Charger appears, he is described as idiotic.
Okay.
With a D instead
Yeah,
of a T.
ironically, you have spelled idiotic wrong, making
Yeah.
you look a bit idiotic as an author. But
So I'm assuming this is Mr. Charger.
I love that. That's such a
Idiotic.
teenage insult. You look idiotic.
He's such an idiot.
Yeah. So the tall, looking 16, 17 years old, walked out of it. The boys recognized him at once. Mr. Charger. It's in italics. What does that mean? I don't know. What is that?
I think it's like Mr. Charger. Like,
Mr. Charger. No full stop.
No,
It could be a heading. It could be anything. Mr. Charger. Is it ready yet? Said the younger version of the grey-haired man.
Is it ready yet?
One more. Mr. Charger struggled to say. He was bleeding heavily from his chest and legs.
Oh my god!
surprisingly not his bum.
So it's more of
All
a
the spells he's shooting out.
we had a fisher.
Yeah.
So it's more of a one more. He was struggling.
He's weak.
That's good. That's good.
Don't push your luck, Winston, said the younger version of the grey-haired man.
Oh, so Mr. Charger's first name is
Winston.
Winston Charger.
Winston Charger.
Almost Winston Churchill.
Definitely not intentional.
Yeah, no.
I honestly still don't really know who that is. Is he a president?
Yeah, ex-Prime Minister of England.
Oh.
Come on, mate, watch The Crown. I am not lying.
Who's Winston Churchill?
What was that? Mr. Charger said. I am not lying.
Wait, why does he say
I don't know.
Oh, right, because he
Don't-
says
don't-
one more, don't push your luck. I am not lying.
I'm not lying. What was that? Mr. Charger said. He was definitely not trying to get out of whatever mess he was already in because the boys had also heard a noise. Wow. Wow, it's all over the shop here, Mike.
We're off the rails again.
Yeah, you had some good writing
What time
there
is it now? We'll check the time at the bottom.
Oh, it's 2 a.m. this time. That makes sense. No. What was that noise, Boris? Said Mr. Charger.
The grey-haired man's name
is Boris.
Okay.
Wow.
I love Boris as a character name. I feel like as a child I was like a lot of Boris in mine.
Really?
So it's Winston Charger
Yeah, Boris is a great character name.
and Boris the grey-haired man.
Okay.
Wow. So it's not Dumbledore, otherwise it'd be Albus.
Yeah.
It was simply my wand, said the younger version of the grey-haired man, whose name was probably Boris.
Well, there's two people there. We know one of them's Winston.
But the narrator's not sure.
Yeah, why are you, as the author, not sure whether that young boy...
I guess that was Boris. I don't know who else he could be talking to.
It was simply my wand.
It was simply my wand. It was simply my wand.
Instead of saying, said Boris,
Yeah.
it said the younger version of the grey-haired man, whose name was probably Boris.
Probably
but
Boris.
we can't be sure, so we will still refer to him as this.
If you haven't noticed, I have you in the leg lock. And we hadn't noticed because you hadn't described that. Oh, but that's not a physical leg lock. That's a spell. I'm
I
guessing.
think it's a spell.
The leg lock
locomotor
curse.
mode.
Hence-
Locomotor mortis, I
Yeah.
believe.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
One of the-
Impedimentus or something like
Yeah,
that.
something
that
like
sort.
that.
Chest and leg. He's bleeding heavily. Remember that?
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
I'm telling you, Boris, we need one more. Mr. Charger said, clearly in pain.
And can we say, I think we're all on the same page here. Something sinister's going on. Like, are we all on that page? Like,
There's some tension. There's some conflict.
I'm so annoyed at your writing, though, that it's like... It's such a classic young person writing move of like, there's something mysterious that I don't want to tell you about.
Yeah.
But I'm also not really sure about what that is. And we're going to all find out together as I write it.
that's the whole book.
There's something we're not sure about, but because of the writing, there's a lot we're unsure about.
Yeah. So, yeah, I
All
just
right.
wanted to check. None of us think there's something innocent schoolboy stuff
no,
going on.
no,
There's
this
something.
sounds-
There is, and further complicating it is in this scene there are not just real life. There's memory characters and there's real life characters.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's someone probably named Boris.
Yeah, we assume. We can't be sure.
I think
though.
in the Harry Potter books,
I don't want to commit
the
that.
pensive scenes are very clear in. We're witnessing an important moment. Whereas in this, we're witnessing maybe an important moment, but it's not clear.
Yeah, and also
We're witnessing a very mysterious grey moment.
Yeah, and also Hermione. This is the chapter is called Hermione's Memories.
Yeah.
She was in the start of the memory. She's not in this part.
yeah.
So how does she remember it?
remember it?
Yeah.
If it's her memory, is she even in the scene?
Maybe she's the noise.
She's the
it was
one.
simply his wand.
All right, I'll read on.
We could find out though in a work of genius.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Boris, we need one more, Mr. Charger said, clearly in pain. No, I've killed enough mudbloods.
Sorry, I just wanted to make that.
Once.
Yeah, but that's
Wait.
true. Use it now. So he's saying we need another mudblood.
I
for some kind of-
we can't be sure.
But I'm feeling some kind of
Need
book
one more.
for
No, I've killed enough
sacrifice.
mudbloods. Use it now.
Some kind of mudblood sacrifice.
Use it now. Please keep going. I'm actually
Boris.
intrigued.
Thank you.
Boris, use it now, Boris said as he ran up to the tall structure in the middle of the room and pressed a red button.
Is that the tall something? That
Tall
we,
something.
That we
So
Red
it's a
button.
structure.
It's very
Red
sort of
button is
clown like or sort of
Yeah.
musical theatre. Big red
Xbox
button.
360,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah,
Simpsons.
Inspector Gadget.
You know,
There's many buttons in Harry Potter.
yeah, I was gonna say.
It's all the wooden.
It's all mechanical. There's no real button triggers to
No.
things.
Technology isn't really a thing, is
Yeah.
it?
You
So
don't need it when you magic.
No.
so Boris has
Technology is real life magic.
Yeah,
that's,
exactly.
That's where I'm at.
run up and pressed the red button on this tall red structure. The star at the top of the structure glowed a violent red.
Oh my god.
It
Unusual color for a star.
Yeah.
a great star-shaped beam emerged. So syntax errors.
It's a great.
It's we'll just say a great star-shaped beam emerged from the top of the building.
Wow.
No, said Mr. Charger, now crying. All my work ruined. No.
So
What?
it seems as though for whatever they're doing to work properly, they needed to kill one more mudblood, but they have triggered this off early, and now apparently all the work is ruined. We know no more than that, but that's me trying to justify
It's starting to remind me of the TV show Dark on Netflix, which is very complicated and hard to
Dark's
follow,
really
which involves a machine that also is broken and trying to get working.
But that's by actual writers.
We can't be sure of that.
In a different language.
Quite possibly.
That makes more sense in German.
Probably by actual
One
writers.
of them may be called Boris.
turn?
We don't know.
Okay.
All right, back to Tom.
Mr. Charger raised his wand at Boris after the beam had hit something that was well out of sight.
Can I
They're
just
not
interrupt,
getting
Tom?
on.
You make this book sound way better than it is with the way you read it. Like we need you for the audio.
Yeah.
I'm more than happy to.
He's more of a Stephen Fry than I am, I guess.
Avada Expelliarmus!
Oh!
Two people had walked into this room. Mr. Charger's wand was knocked out of his hand.
Oh my God.
It was Harry Potter and Ron Weasley.
Oh, the headmaster.
Now that's a moment you'd use in the trailer for the movie to get
Yeah,
people
you
in.
would. Yeah.
Here's another probably. They were probably in their late 40s about now. Probably. Mr. Charger began to speak in a language that the boys knew was Parseltongue. You could just say that Mr. Charger began to speak in Parseltongue.
If they're in their late 40s, that means that Hermione is also in her late 40s. So this memory is, a recent memory?
Well, I guess, yeah, because in Deathly Hallows, they were 17, 18.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I guess this is, the present day of this book is 50 years after that.
Okay.
So they would be,
But they're the same age.
They'd be about 67.
Yeah.
So Hermione's
20
going, check
was
this out.
20 years ago?
From 5 years ago.
So this is about 20
years ago, yeah. Okay.
So Mr. Charger began to speak in Parseltongue. At that moment, two basilisks.
Mr. Charger is clearly just a Snape ripoff.
Snape was a good guy. Mr. Charger's so mean.
You've just transposed everything about Snape and potions onto Mr. Charger and added a farting element, haven't you? That's what you've done.
We'll find out.
And when was this written? What year was it
found out.
written?
2007.
Okay, so the book 7 hadn't come out yet, right?
No, I think book 7 was out by the time this was written.
Okay.
Yeah, it came out when I was. It came out in 2008
Okay.
Yeah,
because I was in year 12. So I was Tom.
At that moment, two basilisks came out
That's
of
one
the
more
two
than
holes
we've
in the
seen.
wall.
You've upped the ante, haven't you, from book 2?
Two
It's 2
times more.
basilisks.
The beam that had been shot out of the tall structure had returned. Now it held a baby.
Oh, okay. This scene
Now-
would be better off to be played in real life. Why put it in a memory?
I don't know. But can I say that there is a character in this book who is a recurring character that never says much, who...
Justin Finch Filcher?
Justin Finch Fletchley.
Actually, no. But I wouldn't be surprised if he pops up. No,
You need a charger. I'm just going to get your charger.
on my laptop.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. We'll take a 2-minute recess, guys.
There's just so much energy being drawn from the laptop right now.
Sorry, guys. We just took a 2-minute recess. We are back.
We're plugged in.
We
Okay.
have recovered.
So, all right, they were probably they were in the late 40s. Harry and Ron are there. They've Expelliarmus after somebody was about to kill someone, and then Mr. Charger spoke some Parseltongue. Two basilisks came out, and then the beam that had shot out of the tall structure had returned. Now it held a baby.
And yeah, I was saying there is a character called Harold, not Justin Finch Fletchley, who
okay.
recurs in this book. And he is known for his star-shaped birthmark. Now, I will predict that he is this baby. However, I am not sure.
You know what, Mike? This is so classic of young kids writing, where you go, "That's a great thing in that book. I'm going to do my own version." I did the same thing.
fiction.
I read the Horse and His Boy, which was a
Narnia?
C.S. Lewis. Yeah. And then for school in year 8, it had to write our own short story, and I just wrote a story of a boy
And his
and a horse going on his own journey through like the same marshland. It's like clearly a ripoff. Like your imagination is as only goes so far at that age, doesn't it?
Yeah. Shasta was the name of the boy in that book, wasn't
Well
it?
done, Shasta,
And
yeah.
was Shasta the horse or the boy? Tom, you'd know.
I haven't read it.
No, Tom-
I haven't read it. I
Well,
did line
Those books are great, though.
Great
aren't they?
books, yeah.
Now it held a baby. The baby looked at the basilisks
Oh, no.
at once.
Here we go. What, the baby's going to save them, is it?
At
Avada
once.
Kedavra.
At once, a star-shaped birthmark appeared on the baby's forehead.
It appeared.
Michael and Rob knew who this baby was at once. It was Harold. The basilisks slithered over to the baby Harold and bit it. Boris, who still had his wand, aimed it straight at Harry's chest, but instead of killing him, he shouted, "Obliviate!"
Wow, that was...
This was the memory charm.
And now the book, in the present of this book, Harry Potter is just an imbecile who just seems to have no memory or awareness of everything.
A very similar character to in book 2,
Professor Lockhart. Now,
Yeah.
this may be the origin of that.
Well, this was the memory charm. It caused Harry to lose his memory.
It's a bit of an X-Men Origins kind of...
Yeah, really.
Hogwarts Origins.
Boris moved his wand over to Ron and said, "Obliviate!" But Ron dodged it. "Basilico!" shouted Ron. His wand...
Pasta sauce? Basilico? Basil pesto?
And a spell, clearly.
His wand made an extremely high-pitched squealing noise, and the basilisks fled. It's a good spell. "Come with me!" Ron yelled. The memory ended.
Oh,
hang on.
Who's he saying to come with him?
Yeah, who? So what happened? What happened there? So one, the baby appeared, and then a birthmark, which usually happens at birth, appeared on him.
Yeah.
Didn't realize it is called a birthmark because you were born with a mark.
But
Did the baby do anything?
No.
It looked at the basilisk and got the birthmark.
Yeah.
And then Harry... And then the basilisk bit Harold.
The baby Harold.
Baby
Harold. You never say baby Harold.
And then Boris, who is the grey-haired guy, has obliviated Harry Potter's memory.
And these are like 7th year students, we assume, at Hogwarts, I guess.
And then Ron makes the basilisks flee, and then Ron saying, "Come with me," which is like, who is he yelling that to? Because aren't they bad guys? So who is he wanting to come with him?
But maybe he's saying, "Come with me. I'm going to apprehend you," or "Come with me, I'm
we don't
going
know.
to give you detention."
No tone. We didn't give it a tone.
We don't really know.
Do you want to go now, Ollie, or do you want me to keep going?
Yeah, okay, go.
Okay.
I think we're nearing the end of this one now, I believe.
Well, we've left the memory.
So they were back in Hermione's office.
No longer Hermione's memory.
There you go. We can put that on the side.
Yeah, thank you. All right, but they were back in Hermione's office. Where's this? Oh, yeah, here we go.
Back in Hermione's office.
So, asked Hermione, "Have you figured anything out?" Anything in italics? "No," said Rob.
Which also implies that Hermione
knows all along. Hermione's been known all along.
And no one's like, "Just tell us." Like, nah, figure it out. If you didn't figure it out, it's your own fault.
Yeah, she's brutal. She's a real teacher.
Wow.
"No," said Rob. "What are you talking about?" said Michael. Oh, look at you, Hank.
Clever boy.
"Everything makes sense now. The basilisk in our dream, it had a star on its head." Don't know who said that.
So the boys have been having weird recurring dreams
okay.
of a basilisk with a star on its head.
Good. Yeah.
"So what?" said Rob. "Harold, when he was bitten by that basilisk, he must have been cursed, a bit like a werewolf, but a basilisk.
A were-basilisk.
And it also explains why Harry is well, he's so, stupid." What? Well, because he was stunned. He was
obliviated.
Apparently, he's never recovered.
So Harry, we're saying Harry is stupid, but he is the headmaster?
He is the headmaster of Hogwarts, and as we found out in Chapter 2, the head of giving head at Hogwarts.
Is he?
Yeah.
A bit sexual.
Oh, well, we don't really know much about it. But
What head of giving head?
Whatever that phrase means.
We don't know what that means.
I think
surely
we know.
it means the head of...
Year 7s. We know what you would tell.
It could be something different in the wizarding world, though.
Mate, you're filthy. Mike, you're filthy.
No, he was writing Harry Potter fan fiction. I don't think it was getting sexual at that stage. I'm pretty sure he's giving the head, as in the heads of the
Okay.
We really don't know. It's open to interpretation.
Which Mike do you want? You choose your own adventure
do you
there.
want your sexy Mike or do you want nerdy Mike?
Exactly, said Hermione.
Hey, they can be the same. Look, they probably can't.
Fan fiction, bit of fan friction, maybe in the bedroom. All right, exactly, said Hermione. "But Professor Granger, what did you want us to look for clues for?" Rob asked. "And who was the blonde-haired man?"
Boris.
That is exactly what I want to know, Mr. Robson.
So Hermione doesn't know.
She's punting them in there as detectives to work it out for her. Didn't bother going.
Just like, we're 11.
Yeah.
Can we just go
You're
back
a
to class?
70-year-old woman. Surely you know. You're one of the smartest women ever.
Here we go. You pulled out some classic J.K. Rowling here
good.
with the Hermione characters doing a real Dumbledore here.
Okay.
You see, I have a theory.
Hermione voice.
Okay.
Yes, you see, I have a theory. I think that over the course of their years at Hogwarts, Winston Charger, now your potions teacher, and Boris. Oh, what was his last name? Well, anyway, Winston Charger and Boris planned on finishing Lord Voldemort's work. Again, it's a theory.
That's good.
They wanted...
Just a theory.
It's just a theory. Let's not get ahead of
We
ourselves.
don't even know his name's Boris.
Yeah.
It's probably Boris.
Can't work out a surname. All right. They wanted to kill Harry, and by their 7th year, Boris had killed 9 Muggleborns, but he left no sign of evidence. Just say evidence. But he left no evidence.
Also, how do you kill 9 people with no evidence? Like,
Yeah. You can in the wizarding
If
world.
they're excellent
true.
wizards.
Obliviate.
So why didn't he kill Harry when he walked in on them? Rob asked. Because Ron Weasley is an extremely powerful wizard.
Justice for Ron.
Said no one ever.
Yeah,
Justice for Ron.
I think I
Ron's
was
redemption.
very much about Ron being redeemed.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's a long-running thing. in this
You're
book.
really pushing him up the chain.
You really prefer Samwise Gamgee over Frodo, don't you?
And
You're
you
that
are,
kind of guy.
and you are bringing down Harry.
Yeah. Justice for Ron.
You are
I told you, Harry's a dick.
You're a Hufflepuff all the way. Because Ron is an extremely powerful wizard. He knew he wouldn't be able to take him down with a simple memory charm. So if he killed Harry, Ron would, well, use his powers that you could never even imagine to spread the word to every wizard in the world.
Wow.
There's a lot going
Can't
on
even
there.
imagine that.
They'd be in Azkaban for years.
Can I say that it is still up in the air
Yeah.
whether Hermione and Ron are still married in this book? We don't know.
Of course.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, because you didn't know at the time.
Yeah, I need to figure out exactly when this was written, but maybe the last one wasn't out yet.
I mean, I hate to say it, but if your book doesn't acknowledge that Ron and Hermione are married, it's not canon.
Well, they could have gotten divorced.
Yeah, you're hoping for that, eh? To keep your book legitimate. You're hoping to derail
Chapter
one of the
37.
greatest love stories in children's literature for
Chapter
you.
16, the bitter divorce.
Written by...
Hermione, jump into my Pensieve, boys. I want to show you something.
I hate you. Well, I hate you too. Yeah, well, I'm getting a divorce. Memory gone. It's like, wow, that was ugly.
Thanks for showing us that, Hermione. No worries, guys. Now let's head to class.
Very personal. All right. So what happened to Mr. Charger and Boris? Michael asked. Both of those students were expelled. Boris stayed in England, but Richard went to live in Spain. And last year, he applied for a job here. Rings a bell, doesn't it? Professor Voldemort coming back for a job.
Professor Voldemort.
I was going to say Snape, but you're right. It was Voldemort.
Voldemort came back, yeah.
Unfortunately, Harry did not remember him as the man that tried to kill him, and these days, Harry doesn't listen to anybody.
So all the teachers must have
I
been like, hey, just so you know, this is that guy who tried to kill you when he was at school. And Harry must just be like, no, it wasn't. That was Voldemort. And it's like, no, after that.
And he's like, well, I'm oblivious.
But I love that you'd obviously felt the need to put Harry as headmaster out of a duty of the Harry character.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it's
you're
very
also
clever.
undermining him
Yeah.
constantly, and he's also an idiot. So, like, why
It's
would he
very
be
clever. I like that.
But I think it's like no one in the wizarding world has the courage to stand up to Harry because they
Yeah.
know how important he was.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Hermione's like, well, I guess Harry's headmaster, but I'm kind of doing all the work.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of vibe.
Okay. So, but Harry doesn't listen to anybody. And Boris? Asked Rob. I don't know, boys. You see, Boris was never seen again.
But didn't
Oh.
you say Boris stayed in England for
Yeah,
a few years?
yeah, she did. Boris stayed in England.
Yeah, we used to catch up.
Well,
He was
they've
never
forgotten
seen again.
they've forgotten that part of the conversation moments ago. I don't know, boys. You see, Boris was never seen again, but it is said that he is now a Death Eater, one of Voldemort's followers. Now, there is one more memory I would like to show you. I hope you understand it more than me.
End of chapter.
Oh my
Wow.
Why would they? Why would they understand it more than her? Like, what do they know? They don't know shit.
They're kids. They know nothing.
It was you, and it's her memory.
Yeah. Now,
Although that you're leaning on the framework that Dumbledore was saying. Hopefully,
Yeah.
Harry knows more. Look, a lot of leaning going on in your writing.
A lot of leaning.
Yeah.
I hope you have a reunion episode at the end of this. Once you get to the end of the book, because I
like
am.
where all the guests come back.
Yeah,
or-
because I want to know what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess. Yeah, we could
I
definitely
know,
do
I'm
that.
supposed to listen to it, aren't I?
I mean, yeah, look, that's kind of the point of the podcast is you listen each week, and each week you find out what happens in the story.
Will there be a condensed version? Just,
maybe. But it is kind of good that
Tom wants a Spark Notes version.
you've come in mid-book,
Yeah.
and it still sucked you in, and that's the power of the book.
That is the power of what
you the book gets you.
Not the power of Harry Potter. It's the power of your book. Yes, your book.
Harry Potter and the boys.
Have you had any? How many? This is chapter 15 or 14.
Yeah.
How many? You've had a guess for each chapter.
Yeah, except for 2 or 3, I think.
Right. Yeah. Has anyone read it and gone, "This is shit"?
Oh, everyone has. Everyone has. I'm surprised you guys didn't say that more explicitly.
Yeah. Well, I was holding back. No, it's not shit, though. It is good. There is a lot to like about it. For year 7 as well.
Name 2 things.
It's really
Name
good.
2 things? Well, I already said that. There was that one sentence that showed a great insight into storytelling.
Yeah.
And the fact that you've drawn us in. We're sucked in.
Yeah, I'm sucked in.
Did you ever give it to a teacher at school in English?
Defense against the dark farts. Here you go, miss. Have a bloody read of this.
Defense against the dark farts.
Before we go, do you have any theories based on the one chapter you've read? What do you reckon's going to happen?
Oh, wow.
Well, I imagine it's a direct mirror of the actual book. And so, the baby will end up growing up to be someone important, and that baby will be the ultimate reason why everyone is saved, and they follow the baby followed the plan of Voldemort / Boris / Mr. Charger.
Okay.
That's my theory.
I think I'm with that as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, guys. Yeah. This has been really fun.
Yes.
Oh, that's funny.
Can we plug your stuff? When can people hear you guys?
Yes, plug our show, Tom and Ollie with a Y on Instagram, and live broadcast every weeknight.
10 till 1 a.m. across the country in Australia.
Great show.
And Harry Potter does appear, on our show.
Yeah.
Well, we had my dad on the show a few weeks ago because
he Harry Potter?
He read
Harry Potter himself.
Is on the show.
I can see how you thought that.
We did interview the guy who plays Harry Potter.
My dad read Harry Potter for the first time last week, like a few weeks ago. Cool. So we got him on as an older man to get his interpretation of it. Yeah. And he was loving it.
Awesome.
He was loving it.
Great. And did you say you interviewed Daniel Radcliffe at one point?
No, not that guy who plays Harry Potter, the other guy.
The onstage
Onstage in the theatre show. Cursed Child.
Great show, Tom and Ollie. Perfect when you're driving home late. Check it out. It's really fun. And I really appreciate you guys coming on. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
I want to come back and read more. I'm really
awesome.
excited.
I'd love to have you guys back.
Do you have any chick lit or
what's chick lit?
Or literature, like sort of just more adult sexual?
Oh, is this?
yeah, of your own other stuff.
I don't.
Mostly children's stuff.
Literature?
Literature.
Is that a real term?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Wow.
Female targeted usually, but
you'd assume so.
Yeah. So you don't. Okay, that's cool.
I don't have any literature.
Because I think you should. Having read this, I think you should be writing some literature.
I'd like to see the behind the scenes of Mr. Charger getting changed. Or, there's a romance going on here.
Hermione's memories.
Of that divorce.
Thank you guys for listening. Catch you later, Goblets of Fire.
Ciao.